father's a proud man. The BENN Eubank or Eubank BENN fights are the highlight of his career. He's very much proud to mention that whenever asked. Is it possible that he doesn't want you stepping on this legacy? That maybe he would like that to be his and his alone, and you to leave it.
That's a good point. I don't know if he would consider it stepping on, but maybe he considers it a risk. You know, does he want his son risking muddying what he had to do? He had to go through hell and back to beat the monster that was Nigel Benn. He had to kill himself to do that. Nobody gave him a shot. So does he want me coming in there, underperforming, God forbid losing, and then muddying and disrespecting everything that he had to do? Because that's what it would be.
Even in winning, though, you would be, in making it look easy, might take away from what his accomplishments were in his generation, and then you become the focus of the Eubank BENN rivalry.
I don't think he's ever been that type of person. He's always wanted the best for me. He's always wanted me to succeed and even be better than him. So I don't see that as a reason for him not wanting the fight to happen.
So what do you make of this boycott Eubank BENN?
I don't know. I didn't hear him say that. You know, so, you know, and if he did say it, listen, he's in a very emotional state right now. We've been through a lot over the last year. We lost Seb. And he doesn't want to risk anything. He just doesn't. You know, but yeah, I mean, I didn't hear him say that, so.
And lastly, I will let you go, but if you're not yet on good terms with this fight, and he's not yet in your corner, he's even asking to boycott it, you're not speaking, is there something you'd like to say to him? We're a few days away from the fight that either might get him into your corner or at least put his mind at ease.
I always take care of business. I always do what I say I'm going to do, and I will make him proud.
Well, we look forward to that Saturday night.
What's good, family? It's your man, the YB, back once again. Big shout out to my doggy, Catalin, for boosting the coin at 100%. So we just heard there from your mans, Chris Eubank Jr. This was a peak one, and I hate to say, I've been told you, man, this. I've been told you. Months before this fight was even signed, I said, Chris Eubank Sr., don't want this fight to happen. I spoke to Chris, I spoke to English, and he told me, YB, my son, he gassed me up for the George Groves fight. Listen, Senior said he didn't even mind the Billy Joe Sausages fight, because he believed everyone can make a mistake once, can't they? And anyone who's watched that fight will know it was evident if Eubank had started how he finished, he'd have won the fight. More or less won every round. If Eubank had started in round 1, like he did, he may have even stopped Billy Joe late. Well, certainly it would have been a 10 to 2 round victory for Eubank. He dominated the last half of the fight. Too much engine. He ended the fight with extra engine. So like I said, Senior told me, listen YB, no problem. Made a mistake. Don't forget, Eubank is not kind of grown up in the game as such. Whilst he's his father's son, he wasn't one of them Floyd Mayweather Jr., Mayweather Senior type ones. Yeah, Mayweather Senior had Junior in boxing gloves at 2 months old. Eubank wasn't one of them ones because, Eubank Jr. wasn't one of them ones. His dad didn't even want him to box. So like I said, Senior had no problem. The Billy Joe Sausages thing. Yeah? Learning experience. 2-2s though. George Groves. Any of you, man, who haven't watched it, go back and watch the build-up for Eubank versus Groves. Yeah? This wasn't a case of Eubank Jr. just waffling. Senior was there as well, co-signing it all. Senior was there, puffing his chest out, talking about, not my son, yeah? My son can't lose this fight. I know my son. Yeah? The man that shot out of my Jacobs. There's no way he can lose to George Groves. George Groves too old. Both of them. It was tag team. Yeah? Junior and Senior was waxing lyrical about how George Groves was too old. George Groves was too shot worn. George Groves got got knocked cold by Carl Froch, who Eubank allegedly turned over in sparring, etc. Oh, those were the narratives. Yeah? And Senior was proper giving it some. Saying, yeah, my son's certified. I know my son. My son came out of me. So I know it's a wrap for Groves. Yeah, it's a wrap for George Oldivers. He was old. Oldivers. Listen, Groves who? George Oldivers. Yeah? Listen, Mr. George Oldivers. Yeah? You're too old. You're too washed up. And my son, he's from me. He's nice. My son, he the guy. Yeah? Gassed it way too much. 2-2s. Eubank goes in there, gets schooled. And really, got to be honest with you, why be your bias? You tell me what you think. Did any of you, man, see Senior back in the cut with Junior since then? Oops, go on, tell me. Which fight? Which fight have you seen Senior all in the video looking like Diddy from 2002? Which one was that? Yeah? Don't no one know. No one ever since Junior gassed his pops up to the nth degree and then flopped. You ain't seen Senior back in the cut since. Senior completely detached himself and said, you know what, son? I don't know where you come from. Yeah, I think your mum might have been playing away 100%. That's what he said. He said, listen, Mr. Junior. Yeah? I don't know what your mum's... Listen, I don't know what the mumsy was doing, but she may have been playing away because you ain't cut from my cloth. Yeah? You give it all this and you got turned over. You got filled in by Mr. George Oldovers. Yeah? And that's why you ain't seen Senior even around a bit. Now, up until this point, up until this fight, yeah, Senior was happy. You know what, son? You waffled, gassed me up, gassed everyone up. Yeah, had me out here. Let's not forget, people. Senior was posting up around the ring with his suit on, doing all... Remember, 100%. Go back and watch how Senior was getting in the ring. Senior would be cornering Junior in a full suit, and the way he'd get in, he'd like prance into the ring. You ain't seen none of that since. Yeah? All the confidence Senior had built up, Junior popped it when George Oldovers got off on him. Like I said though, since then, Senior's been happy to say, you know what, Junior, you waffle too much. You ain't really about it like you say you're about it. Let's not forget, people. Junior, it wasn't, from what I can understand from Senior, it wasn't the fact that Junior lost to Groves, it was the manner he lost. He went in there and just tried to box with the bigger, stronger man. Senior was expecting, let's not forget, people, I forgot the fight, yeah, but there's a fight, and Senior had his eye like a proper pork pie, and he was still warrioring on. So that's what Senior remembers. Senior remembers his big pork pie eye and still trying to fight some more. Now, guess what? Junior, he ain't have no pork pie eye. So Senior sat there and thought, wait there a minute, Junior. Why aren't you going in there and getting stuck in against George Oldovers? The man who you said, it's no good saying, listen, let's get something straight here. Yeah? Senior couldn't understand, wait there a minute. It's one thing for Junior to come into the fight and be humble and say, listen, George, you're fresh. It's going to be a hard fight. Whatever. No, he weren't on that. Yeah? Junior was out here puffing his chest, talking about George Oldovers. You're too old. You're too slow. I'm too young. I'm a Eubank. You're cooked. Yeah? You're fixing to get got. That's what he was saying. So Senior couldn't work out in his head. You talked all that good talk about how old he was, but you got in the ring and you treated him like a prime 1988 Mike Tyson. That's the facts. Go back and watch it. Eubank was in there trying to negotiate the fuck. You said he was old. Go and get his old ass. That's what Senior told me. Yeah? He said, listen, get on this guy's old ass. That you was telling us how old he was. And we weren't telling you that. It wasn't me. I didn't tell Junior he old. Go get him. You was telling us he old. Yeah? If he old, go get him. Instead, Junior's in there, giving it looks and trying to find looks at some old guy. Some old guy you're supposed to run through. Junior was saying there's no way. Yeah? 2-2s, we find out there's a lot of way. And you got whooped, bottom line. And then to add insult to injury after the fight, Junior said, well, I didn't get knocked out. The fuck? Didn't get knocked out? Never mind didn't get knocked out. You was telling us you was trying to dominate the fight. Because he's too old. Don't pull that one. Oh, well, I told you before the fight, it was easy work. Now after the fight, yeah, but I didn't get knocked out. Again, all these contradictions, Senior weren't really feeling that. Again, bear in mind, Senior's a man who had a big pork pie eye and was happy to crack on. These old time, for a lot of these old time cats, yeah, they're happy to buy into the hype until they find out it's hype. Do you know what I'm saying? Eubank assumed his son was really about it like he was. He found out he not, and that's fine. Senior's happy. Junior, you've got a little hustle going on. You've got a little Eubank name hustle. Do your thing, and that's fine. Until this fight came along. Why? like you just heard Chris explain. Now, Chris Jr. is bringing his foolishness directly in contradiction, or potentially he's going to directly contradict the legacy Eubank Senior went pork pie for. Senior told me, listen, YB, I'm out here battling on, yeah, getting pork pied by next dudes and fighting on to build a legacy. And this clown who didn't deliver against George Alders, God knows what else, hasn't done nothing in his career ever since, just been hanging around the place, thinks he's going to come along and put my legacy in jeopardy. And again, people, oh, YB, I told you this. It's amazing. I said this 3 months ago. Eubank Senior don't want this fight because he don't trust his son. His son's a clown. Bottom line. Especially, and I heard from him as well. He told me, listen, the way he's acting as well, eating this food and all that, giving it all that. Listen, Senior feels as if Junior hasn't earned the right to be fronting like that. Yeah? You can't be joking when the last time you give it all the bravado, you lost. What's the... You know what I mean? That's how Senior can't buy into it. He feels like, well, you did all this against Groves and you didn't turn up. And it's interesting, at the end of the interview, Junior said, oh, my dad knows I'll deliver. Oh, no, he doesn't know. That's the problem here. He doesn't know that. Yeah? Because, like I said, not only was you gassing up the George Groves fight, you actually had your pops there gassing it for you. Do you understand? Senior feels guilty now. He told the fans one thing and you delivered a complete other. Let's rewind selector here.
Being what he had to do, he had to go through.
Junior.
I say I'm going to do, and I will make him proud.
It is.
I always take care of business. I always do what I say I'm going to do, and I will make him proud.
Well, we look forward.
I always take care of business. I always do what I say I'm going to do. That's cap. Yeah, that's cap. In fact, let's listen to this bit again as well.
And making it look easy might take away from what his accomplishments were in his generation, and then you become the focus of the Eubank-BENN rivalry.
I don't think he's ever been that type of person. He's always wanted the best for me. He's always wanted me to succeed and even be better than him. So I don't see that as respecting everything that he had to do, because and then muddying and disrespecting everything that he had to do, because that's what it would be.
Even in
muddying and disrespecting everything he had to do. There's two things there. Oh, he knows I always do what I say I'm gonna do. I'm gonna muddy and disrespect what he's done. That's the bottom line here, people. I summed it up before anyone even thought about this. I told you what Senior said 3 months ago. Oh, YB, you ain't really speak to Senior. How am I telling you 3 months ago? Go back to that video. I said to you, Senior weren't on board with this long before anyone said anything. Oops, and here we are. My man ain't even there. Again, don't forget, people. Senior was... You couldn't miss Senior in that George Groves fight. Do you think it's a coincidence that Senior hasn't been seen since and isn't there now? He ain't on this one. And people who say, oh, listen, put it this way, yeah? If the only way to think about this situation, yeah, if Senior was 100% confident, imagine if Senior believed, yeah, Junior was about to knock out a Nigel BENN lineage cat. If he was 1,000% sure, let's say Conor Benn was a complete bum scrub, yeah. Let's say it was completely blatant. Let's say the odds were like 99-1. Where do you think Senior would be? Do you think Senior would be out here saying, oh, I don't want to lose Chris? No, he wouldn't. He'd be there, puffing his chest out with his fake sheriff belt, his fake sheriff shield on, badge rather. He'd be there with his barnacle. It's actually called, it's not a barnacle, it's called a monocle. We'll call it barnacle for now. Senior would be there, you know, with his barnacle on, barnacle looking ass. He'd be hanging out, badge, barnacle, the full works, giving it all this, wouldn't he? He'd be saying, we're about to go 2-1. We're about to push in we're about to catch a Nigel BENN bag. Yeah? We're about to catch a Nigel BENN. What's the word? We're about to catch a Nigel BENN body. Yeah? We love smoking on them Ben cats, man. We love smoking on that Ben pack. Senior would be out here waxing lyrical about how his favourite thing to do is to smoke on that Ben pack. He loves smoking on the Ben pack. Yeah. Senior would be here saying, listen, I don't care how many decades pass, the Eubanks will always be fixing to smoke on some Ben pack. Do you understand? We all know that's the case. So the question is, why isn't he there? Oh, the only answer is Eubank he ain't liking this one, because Junior can directly undermine Eubank Junior right now can undermine all of his pork pie eyes. Yeah, 20 years, 15 years of hard pork pie eye work. How many of you, man, I haven't had it, but how many of you, man, have had to try and carry on fighting on with a big pork pie? Exactly, none of us have. And yet this Don here, Mr. Junior, he's just going to rock up. And dad has no belief, he has no faith in him, because he's lied to him before. Like I said, Senior said to me, it wasn't the fact he lost to Groves, it was the way he lost. He didn't say the things, he didn't do the things he said he was gonna. Yeah? That's the issue here. How can you have faith in someone? For example, Junior could have said it's going to be a hard fight against Groves. It's a 50-50 fight and we'll see how it plays out. And the way Junior fought Groves, yeah, was as if it was a 50-50 fight. Or really, Junior fought Groves as if Groves was the A-side, bottom line. Eubank treated Groves like he was the clear 80-20 A-side. But the problem was, before the fight, anyone who listened would believe it was the other way around. Yeah? That's the problem Eubank has. Don't be telling us about how George is old and how it's easy work and you're in there trying to play boxer. What the fuck? Get in and get stuck in. Yeah? Because in my mind, anyone who's an old, easy fight, you go straight forward, don't you? Let's be real now. Especially Eubank style then. Eubank style was to go in there and apply pressure. Don't also forget, he should have learned from the Billy Joe fight. Yeah, Senior ain't trying to hear about, no, he ain't trying to hear that. That was the Billy Joe fight. The Billy Joe fight, you started too late. The Billy Joe fight, you lost. Because of bad tactics. Now you know you go in there against the old guy and outwork him. You weren't willing to do that. You weren't willing to go to the place your pops was. That's the problem. And the fact that you said you were willing to go there. How can Eubank have any faith? Go on, how can Senior, how can English have any faith in his son? Go on, explain to me. How can he? You've got Conor Benn right now, who, whatever people say about him, unproven, that's fair, but whatever you say about him, he come in to get it. Yeah? That's what the evidence shows. Conor Benn ain't no pushover. Even the fights, even when he had dodgy fights, to be fair to him, he went out fighting. Even when he had that tough fight with Paynard, he didn't go in there and shit his pants. No, he came back fighting. If I remember correctly, he got put down and then put the guy down the next round. Yeah? He didn't go in there and, to be quite frank, do what Eubank did. Eubank, when Eubank's in a hard fight, he ends up, his ass twitches, which is fine, but again, that's not what you sell. Yeah? You sold true pork pie-ness. Yeah, that's the bottom line. You sold true pork pie eye. Yeah? And even with the size difference, this confidence is fake confidence from Junior. He doesn't really believe the things he says he believes. Because if he did, his performances would look a lot different. Even against Liam Chiniams, Eubank was in there with a guy he couldn't not put down, and he went the distance. It's like, what the fuck? It shows you the mentality. I'm sorry, but any kind of real alpha man would have finished Chiniams, just on principle. Eubank put him down 4 times with jabs and little hooks. Oh, how can you not be moshing that guy? Eubank found a way not to mosh him because he doesn't have the pork pie eye. Now, whatever you say about Conor Benn is, yeah, Conor Benn, he come out and fight the same way, whoever it is. He coming out and he trying to get on you. Yeah? He ain't trying to play games, he ain't trying to negotiate, he coming out and he throwing heavy leather. That's why Senior's nervous. He's nervous because he doesn't see the things in his own son that he sees in Nigel's son. Bottom line. Nigel's son has shown he's willing to put it on the line. In that sense. He's willing to stick his chin in the air and get clipped and get up. We haven't seen that from Eubank. When Eubank's losing, he's happy to lose. It's almost like a bit like AJ in that sense. Eubank's happy to lose and maintain self-preservation. He's not willing to leave it all out there. Now, I'm not saying, have we seen a fight from Conor Benn which shows he's happy to leave it all out there? No, but the signs are there. The signs are there, yeah, that Ben is happy to put all his chips in. Or at least to a higher degree than Eubank shown. Eubank shown when it matters. Yeah, when his pride's on the line, Eubank shown he's happy to roll over. Because Eubank's laid it all out there for the Groves fight of what he was going to do. And the Billy Joe fight for that matter. He laid it all out there. And both times didn't deliver. And since then, what's he done? Ducked Golovkin, ducked all the hard fights, which that doesn't... Oh, well, you can make the excuses all you want. Bottom line is, you're 33 years old, 10 years of activity, and you ain't never fought for a belt. What does that say? Or, you know what I mean? What does that say about you? Don't forget also, Eubank proclaims to be some big alpha. Well, how can you be big alpha and you're ducking world championship opportunities? It doesn't line up. Again, how can Senior have any faith in that individual? One that hangs around fighting domestic fights still. Yeah? Meanwhile, Conor Benn, whatever you say about him, he coming to get it. Yeah? He want it bad. He ain't with all the politicking. So honestly, it's a sad situation. Some people have said that they wish Senior would just, at this point now, listen, we understand Senior, your son's a bit iffy in that sense, yeah? Your son's a bit, you know what I mean, he's not the full ticket. Yeah, listen, Senior, we understand Eubank ain't the full ticket. He full of cap, yeah? Chris Capbank Jr., that's his name, from now on, you ain't trying to hear about Chris either. Capis, listen, Capis, Eubank. Yeah, 100%. Chris Capbank. Listen, Mr. Chris Capbank Jr. He loved the cap. He full of the cap. He loved the cap. Listen, Senior, we understand. Your son, Chris Capbank Jr. He iffy at best. Yeah, he'd a half ticket. That said, I mean, can you not just get behind your son right now? But again, it shows you how much Senior just don't want this to happen. He just don't want it. He can see it and who can blame him? I can see it myself. Yeah? Conor Benn goes in there, sets about Eubank. Eubank's jittery, and then has a good 12th round and loses on points. Oh, you can just hear it already. Yeah? Because, again, we've heard this before, people. And I'm not saying it's exactly the same. I'd be lying. This fight's a lot cooler. George Groves was a big, strong guy. A big, strong, experienced guy, yeah? Conor Benn isn't that. But my point is, people, don't forget, all this bravado. I can beat Ben with 6 weeks' notice. I can beat Ben at 40%. I can beat Ben with one arm. All that bravado, he said all the same stuff yet and more before the Groves fight. And we didn't see all that bravado in the ring. That's the core issue here, people. And after the fight, Eubank, he finds a way to gas himself up again and say the same shit. It's all a lie, and that's how his dad feels. Yeah? You lied to me once, how can you believe it again? And it's not even like you can say, well, IB, yeah. He flopped against Groves, but look what he's done since. He called out Golovkin and went in there and set about Golovkin. What has Eubank really done to show his change? Nothing really. He's ducked all the hard fights, and when he has had a fight against a bum, he's taken all night. Eubank was running in the ring in round 12 against a man he put down 4 times. Who does that? Who puts a man down 4 times and in the championship rounds runs around? And Eubank was almost trying to show off with it. Eubank thought he was like doing something special. Oh, I'm running from a bum I've put down 4 times. Who does that? Clown. Senior thinks his son is a clown. Bottom line. And he don't want his clown son. Yeah? He don't want clown Eubank Jr. Listen, Mr. Chris Clownbank Jr. Yeah? End of the day, man. Chris Eubank Sr. doesn't want his son, Chris Clownbank Jr., messing up what he's had going on for the last 30 years. Yeah? Eubank Sr. has been basking basking in the victory he has over Ben until now. And that's why Senior's going way OTT with it, talking about, oh, we need to boycott the fight. Senior would do anything right now to get this fight off. And to be quite frank, I don't blame him. Imagine how bad it's going to look, yeah? All the legacy Eubank Senior's built, and a small fry midget Ben smokes his son, smokes his namesake. Oh, it don't get worse than that. Do you know what I'm saying? For me, it's almost like one of the most cringiest things in the world is imagine seeing your missus get beat up by another chick, for example. That's a cringy thing, isn't it? Seeing your missus get beat up, it's like, oh, it's one of them ones, and it's awkward. You can't really look at her the same. I guess it's similar for women. If you see your man get beat up, it's like, ooh, yeah. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing more cringy than seeing your missus get beat up by another female. It's like, ooh, you know what I'm saying? One of them ones. And the reason I say that is, as bad as that is, it's nowhere near as bad as having your namesake smoked by a midget, half-pint, nemesis Ben. Do you understand? If Conor Benn wins this fight, it's over for the Eubank name. There's no coming back. There's no excuses. There's no nothing. Yeah? And Senior feels almost like, well, wait there a minute. I've heard my son talk about, oh, the weight this, the weight that, yeah? Well, if you're saying the weight's only going to allow you to be 50%, Senior doesn't trust Junior to win the fight at 100%. Do you understand? And that's why Senior's jumped on the weight, because he's saying, wait a minute, son. You've just said that the weight's going to categorically make you only 50%. If that's the case, this fight needs to be off. Yeah? I'm not sure you can win the fight at 100%. Never mind knowing you're going to be down bad. Get this fight cancelled. That's his position. Anyway, it's what it is. The fight's happening now. Junior doesn't know what he doesn't know. He obviously... And he doesn't believe what he's saying, because we've seen it before. Yeah? A man who believes George Groves was old would have treated him that way. Go on, what round? What round did you see Eubank treating George Groves old? Exactly, there weren't none, so he was capping. Yeah? The same way I believe he's capping right now. About how easy it is and whatever else. Yeah? Eubank's a joker, a clown, and that's why his dad is really... It's as bad as it gets. Yeah, Senior is clowning off on Junior right now, giving him no respect. If Senior respected Junior, he'd be saying, listen, son, I respect your wishes as a fighter. But again, Senior doesn't look at Junior as a real fighter like that. He sees him as a 2022 clown looking ass. Bottom line. Yeah? Anyway, it's what it is. Peak right now. We must pray for the Eubanks. Honestly, I'm Team Ben for this one, but I pray for their sake. I pray for the Eubank family institution that Chris wins. Because if he don't, honestly, there's a good chance they won't ever speak again. Honestly, I feel that strongly. People who it's not something I'd wish on, but I'm just telling you I'm telling you the state of the situation. Because guess what? Junior hasn't heard from Senior anyway for the last few months, and he hasn't even lost yet. I'm telling you now, honestly. If Junior loses this fight, God forbid gets knocked out. I mean, if he gets knocked out, he may never speak to Senior again, full stop. But if he loses even on points, there's a good chance they'll need months of therapy just to get back on speaking terms. That's what I've been told. Yeah? Smash the like button, subscribe, and your boy will be back 100%.